So, here we are against Abdul-Gafoor. It was a 1946. It should be an interesting game. I am a fan of the old e4, e5, knight f3 shenanigans. We'll see if he plays the Petrov, the Roy Lopez, maybe the Philidor. Okay, Roy Lopez. I'm a fan of this. I'm a big fan of the Roy Lopez. Particularly the exchange variation. I always feel good about this one. But I do know there are some trying lines here. So after the exchange variation, my best move is to castle. His best move is usually bishop g4. And I've been playing h3 and it's been okay. I get into a fishing pole variation with h5. But I see a lot of people playing d6, and I believe that's the what's it called? It's not Philidor, it's someone else. Staunton, I think. Staunton variation, or Steinitz variation. And I've always felt very powerful after bishop d6. The usual play is just immediately going d4. And pawn takes, you take back with the queen. And that's always felt very, very powerful because you're threatening e5, so we can't develop the knight. And usually they play f6 there. And the game continues like rook e1, knight c3, and I usually feel fine about that. I'm not sure I have an advantage in that position, but it's always felt easy to play. Alright, so he is going for this variation, and I'm always happy to play it. It almost looks like I can't take with the queen, because if I take with the queen, he does have bishop h2 check. I can't take with the knight because I lose the queen, but I can always take with the king. I've never seen someone fall for that yet. I've never had someone fall for it yet. I may have fallen for it, though, in the past. I think I have fallen for it in, like, back when I was, like, 14, 1500 bullet or blitz. I think I've fallen for that line before. And in fact, even in this position, yeah, he already can't play knight f6 because of this. So there is another line. Bishop g4, I think, is the best move here. And I take on e5. The bishop takes. I take back. Yeah. So he's got to be careful. He can't take with this bishop because then I'll take the queen. And this is all very much kind of, I would say, theory. It's kind of the normal line. Yeah, this is the most challenging variation, though, I think. And I've played different things here. I've played c3 and I've played knight c3. Those are the two main variants. c3 tries to control the bishop, and knight c3 just tries to develop. And then there's rook d1. I think it's not good. I don't remember why, but I haven't liked it in the past. But I might give it a try here. Let's say the rook's on d1. What would I do as black? Probably just like queen f6, pile up on the b2 square. That would provoke c3 for sure. So I guess it could always continue after c3 with rook d1. Does this seem reasonable? Because I imagine after c3, he's probably just going to play knight f6. So let's go for that line. We'll go c3 first, and then rook d1 here. Maybe the best move is something really aggressive like queen g4. I guess the problem with that is I have g3, and he can't really attack on the light squares because he's already traded away his light square bishop. But yeah, I think I want to develop the rook to d1. Maybe trade off the bishops. Maybe go knight d2. Yeah. I'm liking it already. Getting the knight to c4 looks like a nice idea as well. Because after knight c4, there's no, like, bishop f6 looks potentially dangerous because I get in e5. Bishop e7. And at that point, the rook probably belongs on e1 so that I can go e6. So yeah, rook e1's also a move here. So knight d2, rook e1, knight c4 is a plan. If I could play all those moves at once, I would, believe me. Wow, he just goes for it anyways. Okay, gets out of the way. I think I have to trade queens now. Hmm. Yeah, because I played c3, so there's no queen b4 here. I guess knight d2 is possible. I could just play knight d2 right now, and I don't have to force the queen trade if I don't want to. So now if he takes, I can take back with the knight. So I'm not messing up my pawns. So I think that's what I'm going to do for now. I'll see if he wants to develop here. He wants to castle queenside. Okay. That makes me want to play queen e3 now. Because now this is a threat. Right? I can target this pawn. So queen e3. Um, I do like it. I do like it. I don't mind it. He doesn't have this move, so that's why it's pretty nice, I think. And it makes way for bishop here, but I think, or knight f3, but I think knight c4 is stronger, because that looks like it wins the. It looks like it forces him to trade his bishop for my knight. I should have noticed he had that. That's a little bit tricky. Just going back. Yeah, I should have looked at that move. Okay, well, I can always move my queen here. I can always get aggressive too with queen a4. Thing is, bishop takes, rook takes, queen a1 check, king d2, and I take the pawn. It's interesting. So this could be an interesting attack here. If I go queen a7, his only real aggressive idea is bishop takes d2. And I don't have to recapture immediately. I could play queen a8 check, and then after king d7, I could take on b7. And at that point, I'd be threatening to take back the bishop, so he'd probably play bishop takes c1, rook takes c1, and then knight e7. Unfortunately, after knight e7, even before knight e7, it's going to be hard to find some kind of follow-up. I want to take on c6, but rook d1 check does not do too much. The king would just go to either e8. Could even go to e8, yeah. He doesn't want to play knight e7 though, actually, in that line. He would play knight h6 to keep his queen in contact with his rook. I'm into it. I'm gonna try something crazy here. I'm gonna go for this line. I think it's gonna go bishop takes d2, queen a8 check, king d7, queen takes b7, knight h6. Or sorry, bishop takes c1, rook takes c1, knight h6, rook d1 check. Yeah. There's also the idea of immediately going king to e8. But I do like that that gives me queen takes c7. Okay, wait, rook takes? What? That is not what I expected at all. After check, king here, takes, takes, takes? What's the idea? Now I think I'm winning. Like, now I think I'm okay, actually. I have a check, the king goes here, and then I pin the bishop. The queen's going to come to the defense, probably via this square, but then I have g3 followed by f4. So I don't agree with that decision. That was an odd one. So if queen g5 and then f4, and he has queen c5 check, which is interesting, but I do get rook f2 then. It just allows me to play rook f2. And if he moves the king, then I have rook d takes d2. So yeah, I really, that was inexplicable. I don't know why he decided to take with the rook there. Yeah, that was odd. I think he's seeing ghosts. Okay, interesting. So he goes that way. Now the pin is not absolute, so that's a smart idea. If I go f3, he has bishop e3 check. But after king h1, he just has to go back into the pin. So, yeah, I think I still have the plan. f3, bishop f2. Or rook f2. Check king h, or check rook f2. Yeah, I don't see it. So I'm gonna do it. I don't see a way to stop the absolute pin from being a problem here. Oh, okay, I do see a way it's a problem. So after check, king h1, I can't go rook f2 because he takes. I can't believe I didn't see that. Oh, I was looking at queen check. But yeah, after bishop check, which is the better option. Okay, he just gets his king out of the way now. Ah, I see. However, there is still a pin here that can't really be stopped. After rook f2, I should be winning a piece. Because it's not check anymore. But, yeah, 2 rooks for a queen and a bishop is what's going to happen if he does this. Otherwise, it's just a bishop. So if bishop e3, I'm going to go rook takes d6. He was going to go bishop takes f2, king takes f2, king takes d6. And at that point, I can go queen takes b6, but maybe it's better. Ah, wow. Stronger move is queen f8. Queen f8 is very strong here. You can just take back with a pawn here if he wants. Then I take with check, though. So it's, you know, also decent for me. But no, I really want to do that. I really want to play queen f8. So I think taking here with the pawn is the strongest idea. Taking here also and then taking with the pawn is fine as well. It is very important for his king to defend the f8 square. But now it's kind of weird. This is kind of an absolute pin. There's really not a good way. I guess he has the plan of g6, king f6, king g7 now. So he has to do that, basically. Yeah, I mean, it's probably stronger to just scoop up these 4 pawns like boop, 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 boop. And I don't think he can do much about that. If he tries this strategy, if he tries to go here, to try to not lose more material. So this should be very winning. Okay, king takes. Yeah, now that is probably one of the worst of all the options because it allows me to do this with check. And I am going to take g7. I can just pre-move that. I don't care where the king goes. Closest you can get is e6. And I'm still going to be winning the rook. So I think this is a reasonable time for, probably reasonable time for him to resign. Yeah, that was just an inexplicable move by him to take with the rook. I think he might have been seeing ghosts after queen a7. Because funnily enough, I think I'm definitely worse off after queen a7. I just played for tricks. That was kind of the idea, was to play for confusion. And I confused him. It did work. He was afraid of the ghost in the machine. All right, and he did resign. But that was a good game. But yeah. Other than that one, I think after he made the mistake, he just kind of compounded it. It was just hard to play at that point. And I can see that. It's kind of, once you lose morale by missing a thing, it just is very hard to continue to try to fight. Especially in a long time control game like this, it's just, it feels horrible because it doesn't feel like you can swindle a game when your opponent has 10 minutes to think about the move. It's very hard to swindle, at least. So yeah, we'll go into the game here. I am suspecting that I had one mistake, and that mistake was queen a7. No way. Oh my god. 11 centipon loss? So queen a7 was the best move? That is crazy. Okay, that is actually awesome. I kind of want to screenshot that and just have that be like the thumbnail for the YouTube video. I think that's what it's going to be called. It's going to be like the perfect game? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Exclamation point. Oh my god. I cannot believe that. Wow. That is amazing. So let's see what happened here. We had the Roy Lopez, and I knew this line. This was very standard, so I know this is what you expect to play here. Bishop takes. So this is interesting. I didn't know what the main idea here is, and it's saying queen b3 immediately, which is really, it makes sense. It seems like a really strong move because it, at the same time, it attacks his b7 pawn, which is not easy to defend, and it easily defends my b7 pawn so that I can bring my bishop out somewhere, maybe probably to e3. I can't go to g5. Or maybe even d2 and then c4. Yeah. So I think I played c3 here, which is almost, it's not the strongest move, but it's not an inaccuracy. It's definitely a good move. It's not quite an inaccuracy. And here you played that move, which is a bit odd. And it likes it. It doesn't mind. It doesn't mind queen e3. I'm so happy. All right, no, I think I played something else here. I think I played knight d2, which it now says is the best move. Oh, now it's thinking that's not as good. It's thinking queen h3 is nicer. Oh, now it's thinking knight d2 again. All right, well, I played knight d2. He didn't trade. He castled. And it... Ooh, I'm so happy right now. It fully recommends queen e3 with the material sacrifice, but I have the compensation. Wow. And it says don't even go for this line. It says white is ahead now with the attack. And okay, so let's look at what the line is. I may have missed something here. So I calculated bishop here. Yeah. Okay. I would have blundered here. I calculated bishop here, check, king here, and then take. And that's just -1. Okay. But what I should have calculated was rook d1. And if takes, you have this. Checkmate. That is lovely. Wow. That's a common move to consider. I really should be thinking about that. So here's a pattern, guys. If your opponent ever castles queenside, I've realized that this is a strong square for the queen, e3, with the idea of sneaking into a2 and mating. And a nice move to go along with queen e3 is to bring your rook to the d file so that you control this square, d7. Because that's the king's only escape square, right? So if you're going to try to mate him by bringing the queen into the back like this, you can also help out by controlling the d7 square or the d2 square if your opponent is white. And here, it actually works because after this, he's going to take with the bishop. And yeah, rook controlling the d file just wins the material back. So what's the best move? You could try defending, and that's what I would think about doing. And then the check comes, though, and he does get to capture it, and you just got to run, basically, right? Oh, wow. Takes. Takes. That's just horrible, though. It's at the end of the line. So what about this? No. Oh, same line as before, basically. What's the difference here? I guess the difference here is that oh, it's even worse. It's mate in 7. Because you have queen takes and then you capture with yeah. So that's way worse. That's way worse. That's why that's worse. Okay, very cool. And then what he did was just not correct. I think he saw a real move that I missed. I think he saw rook d1. So he wasn't seeing ghosts. He was seeing a legitimate threat that I didn't see. So that's the power of intuition, I guess you could say. I don't know if that was good intuition. I don't know if that intuition would always be right, but in this case, it led me to a move that is very good for a tactical reason that I didn't see. The only problem is that I would definitely have played bishop takes d2 if he had captured here. So this is still a blunder, and I think this is a good position here. I think I'm going to put this specific position into the blunder book, which is a list of all my common mistakes that I make in chess games. It's literally just a compilation of mistakes that I've made in long form games and in blitz games. And I use it to try to figure out which moves I'm getting wrong, which patterns I'm missing, and to try to improve them. So where's chapter 2? The Blunder Book chapter 2. And we'll go to the bottom. This is a mating net and a pin. And there's a skewer involved, but it's not actually relevant. The skewer is what you think you have to avoid, but you actually don't. That's funny. My intuition actually won me the game in a situation where I had no right. My opponent was like, oh my god, he's seeing so far ahead. I was like, Queen E3? There's no problem with that. He can't do this. Oh, I'm bad.